It was not pretty, but Luke Kornet turned into Dikembe Mutombo. Payton Pritchard and Jaylen Brown handled the scoring. The Stay Ready guys stayed ready, and the Celtics won. Let's talk about it right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Yup. Beantown, be ever ready. Recognize the city of champs. Back to back, if I say it, it's stamp. Locked on number 19, the best one, the next one. Juice loose in your pool now for the next run. It's the C's, who else could it be? What they gon' say now? Screaming like J.T. Karalis, recap the madness every game, every practice. Best daily pod, no cap like Brad Beckett. Clutch like Drew to KP, tap in daily. Primetime dapping D White on the sideline. Rain and Jace, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast. It's right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. I got you covered Monday through Friday. This week could be Saturday and Sunday as well. 7 days of podcasting this week because the Celtics play a lot of games. So I'll be here for you with all of it. I'm John Karalis here on the Locked On Celtics podcast, your host. I've been covering the Celtics for 20 years, I don't want to go too far. It's not been 20 yet, but close. And I'm doing it right now as a beat writer for Boston Sports Journal and the author of Built Different, which you can now buy at johnkaralis.com. $30, signed, personalized, delivered to your door. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcast. Watch the show on YouTube. Get into the comment section. Let me know what you're thinking about a Boston Celtics win over the Miami Heat, 108-89. Today's show brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA. You'll get $20 off your first purchase of tickets on Game Time. Later on, we'll talk about Jayson Tatum, who was not particularly good in this game. But it's okay. It happened. We'll talk about the Stay Ready guys in a little bit. Pritchard, Jaylen Brown. Let's just start with what this game was, which was ugly. It was just ugly. Once again, for 2 straight games here with the Celtics missing key guys, they were searching. This was another game of searching for what's going to work. The Celtics are very good at understanding 48-minute game is a long time. It's okay. 7-0 run to start the game for Miami. Not great, but it's the beginning of the game. You got 40-plus minutes, 45 minutes to figure it out. You got plenty of time to figure things out. So whether it was Cleveland, where you had to grind without Derek White, without Jaylen Brown. This one, no Al Horford, no Kristaps Porzingis, no Drew Holiday, no Sam Hauser. Personal reasons for Sam Hauser. Let's hope everything is okay there. And so the Celtics, they start Jordan Walsh. They start Luke Kornet. They go with different lineups. You have to be willing to play certain things out. You have to be willing to give these guys some leeway. What's working, what's not, who has it, who doesn't. And you roll with it. And the Celtics were just rolling with it. They're on the back-to-back. Miami's on the back-to-back. What this game boiled down to was the Celtics, even though they were missing 4 key guys, just have more firepower. They had more than what Miami had on the back-to-back. They were missing Jimmy Butler. They were missing Kevin Love. They very clearly looked like they were on the back-to-back. The Celtics did too, but also Payton Pritchard seems to be immune from back-to-backs. Luke Kornet came in and played great defense. If I could tell right away that he was going to have a good defensive game, and I highlighted this on Boston Sports Journal. There's a play early on where Duncan Robinson drives. Luke Kornet steps up, square to the ball handler. He dishes. Luke Kornet slides over, square to Bam Adebayo, who caught the pass. The ball goes back out to Robinson. Jaylen Brown gets a little bit of a contest on there. They missed the shot. But just positionally, Luke was out, square, and you saw I saw that and I was like, okay, Luke's on it right now. He's on it. He's seeing the game, he's reading it, and he's right away I could tell that he had something going. They needed something because offensively it wasn't great. I'll touch on the Jayson Tatum stuff. His passing was off. I could tell it was off from the beginning. And again, the Celtics searching for who's going to do the scoring. How is this scoring going to work? How's it going to happen? But with Miami not playing their best at all, not playing well at all, they just did not play well in this game. As good as the Celtics, I think, looked in stretches, Miami was completely complicit in all of this. If I'm looking at this from the Miami perspective quickly, I just, this is a chalk it up type of game. You think they would lean on Jaime Jaquez? I think the starting Jordan Walsh going up against Jaime Jaquez threw him off right away. Walsh didn't play a ton, 13 and a half minutes, but he still ended up a plus 10. Early, you could see him hounding Jaquez, and that, I think, was enough to disrupt him and start the process of a bad night for Jaquez. Bam Adebayo did nothing, could not get anything going. 6 of 18. He took 4 3-pointers, 1 of 4. He was a minus 17 on a night where they were as shorthanded as they were. 15 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. Like, okay, but that's just not going to get the job done. Jaquez scored 19. He went to the line 12 times, but still 5 of 14 overall. So that's not going to get the job done. Tyler Hero shot 31.5%, 2 of 10 from 3. Yeah, 19 points, but 19 points on 19 shots. Not going to get the job done. The Celtics defensively did enough. Starts with Luke Kornet, was able to get his hands on 6 block shots, which ties a career high. Interesting thing after the game, Joe Mazzulla was, you got to listen to some of the things that Joe's going to say, because he will, within certain comments, drop, and it's not subtle, but it's not obvious either. He will drop little things that tell you exactly how he feels about certain guys. And when he was talking about Luke Kornet, he said he was talking about when he's playing physical, and he's at his best, then we can be a different team. We can do a lot of different things. And he made sure to highlight the physicality part of it. So I asked Luke after, when he came up, and he said, yeah, earlier in the season, I think I was going too far the other way. I was afraid to foul. I wasn't attacking. I wasn't being physical, and I went too far with it. So very clearly, early in the season, he wasn't sure. Maybe he felt like, because Porzingis was out, that he felt like he was more important to the team. They were down somebody, so he couldn't afford to get the fouls. But as a big, you have to be aggressive. Sometimes you're going to have foul trouble. The Celtics will deal with it. It's the number one thing, and this actually goes back to Ime Udoka. I remember when Derek White first came over, and he was very much like, I am not fouling anybody. And I remember specifically Ime talking about, we told Derek, don't be afraid to take a foul. Play physical defense. And that's something that carries over into this version of the Celtics. You got to be willing to take a foul. Playing to not foul is like worrying about getting hurt. It's going to happen, probably more likely to happen, if you're worried about it. If you're not physical, and if you're worried about fouling, chances are you're going to find yourself out of position. You're going to do something and pull back, and you're going to be out of place, and you're still going to end up hitting somebody, and you're going to draw the foul anyway, and it's going to be an and one. You can't worry about that. In this game, Luke attacked. He was physical. He was going after the contests, and that means you get your hands on some. And they're going to let the body contact go. They're going to let some of that go. As long as you're not swiping down all the time and not going across people's bodies. And you know what? You get 6 fouls in the NBA. Use some of them. It's okay to pick one up here or there. So we got incredible rim protection out of Luke Kornet. I thought he had just an incredible defensive game. One of the best games we've seen him play on that end. And on a night where neither Horford or Porzingis were available, I thought Kornet and Neemias Queta were great defensively. They both owned the paint. I thought the third quarter, they were both really good. And the Celtics' third quarter was awful offensively. Awful. They turned the ball over so many times, and yet they still built their lead out. I think they added 6 points to the lead, 7 points to the lead in the third quarter, and they turned the ball over 8 times. I don't know if I've ever seen a team turn the ball over 8 times, not shoot particularly well, 5 of 14 from 3. It's not like they did anything special, but they still, because of their defense, they scored 25, okay, but they held Miami to 18. And that was Luke Kornet, who was a +3, Neemias Queta, who was a +2. Those guys were part of holding down the fort, holding down the defense, and the Celtics basically pulling away. So shout out to Kornet, shout out to Queta. Queta did one thing I was begging him to do. He did it in this game. I'm going to tell you about it when I come back. Today's show is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the place to get real money sports action. This is daily fantasy made fun, made easy, because you can now win up to 100 times your money with as few as 4 correct picks. It's very simple. You pick more or less on at least 2 players for that shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Okay? There's 10 million members and billions of dollars that they've paid out. This is real fun, real money action. And the best place to get that action in over 30 states, that includes California, Florida, Georgia, and Texas. It's the best place to join those 10 million users and use that flex play that they've invented, where you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. They want to give you money. And they now offer for quick and easy deposits and withdrawals. They want you to get your money. So sign up today, $50 instantly when you play a $5 lineup. You don't even have to win to get that $50 bonus. It's just guaranteed. Prize Picks offers also weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts. Taco Tuesday every Tuesday. Discounts on selected players up to 25% to even get even more value for your lineups. Download the app. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA. Get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineups. So Locked On NBA is the code. $5 lineup, $50. Boom. Prize Picks. Run your game. Today's show is also brought to you by Game Time. You can use Game Time to get those last-minute tickets to whatever you're looking for, but it doesn't even have to be last-minute tickets. It can be tickets to anything. It could be tickets to a show that you want to see, whatever. My wife just went on and said, hey, let's go to a Patriots game in a couple of weeks. Okay, no problem. Boom. We went into Game Time. Bought those Patriots tickets. Very simple. She was on there searching for concert tickets. We're doing Christmas shopping. She's like, let's get tickets for people. It's on the Game Time app. So you can use Game Time picks. It's curated. It filters out the fluff, so you get the best deals right there. Toggle all-in pricing so you see the total up front. No surprise fees at checkout. You can see the panoramic view right in the app, so you'll see what you'll see at the venue. And with the lowest price guarantee, you're going to get 110% of the difference if you find these tickets somewhere else for less. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time picks. Download the app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA. You'll get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's Game Time. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Go check out our newsletter, our new daily newsletter, which is Celtics content, NBA content, fantasy content, all to your inbox at LockedOnDaily.com. LockedOnDaily.com. Sign up for free. You'll get this newsletter Monday through Friday. Open it up, read it. Takes you a few minutes to read it. You need something to pass the time at work. Seriously, just it's 2 o'clock at work, 2:30, 3 o'clock, whatever it is. And you know that time where you're just like, ugh, what can I do to make it look like I'm doing something? Oh, let me check my email. Boom. Locked On Celtics newsletter. LockedOnDaily.com. Neemias Queta did one thing that I've been dying for him to do. Catch it high, keep it high. People, this is my favorite thing. People like tweeting at me and sending me the comments like, oh my God, Johnny did it. He did the thing you've been asking him to do. It's 2 things I've been asking Queta to do. Stay home when a teammate has a play covered, so you're not giving up an offensive rebound. He's better at that. And then stop dipping and trying to gather and dunk everything. You can just catch it high, keep it high. And he did that on a pick and roll. Jaylen Brown found him. He caught it up top. He just kept the ball up high, laid it in. Still 2 points whether you dunk it or lay it in. That's an easy basket. No one's blocking that shot. Perfect. It's the simplest little thing, right? I'm not breaking any ground. I'm not seeing things that the coaching staff isn't seeing. This is simple basketball stuff. But he's working on it, and it's really important to see that he's working on it. So very cool to see him do that and be part of, I think, positive impact on this game, where he had a couple of games where he started to tail off. Look, he's still young. He's still figuring it out. So he and Luke, great job patrolling the paint. I thought it was super interesting that Joe didn't stagger Kristaps and Al Horford. He said they did it once last year, early on. Okay, great. They did it. They looked at the matchups and they said, we think we can win this game without having to play Porzingis and Al Horford together. So they'd rather keep the continuity for as many games as possible. And they went with this one with Luke and Nemi, and it worked. It worked because Payton Pritchard and Jaylen Brown, Payton Pritchard especially, what a heater he is on. Pritchard, another 20-point game. What do you have here? 20. Oh, hit the button, John. 25 points in this one. Fourth straight game with 20 plus. So he has gone 25, 24, 29, and 20, working backwards. Miami, Cleveland, Chicago, and the Clippers. Shooting 59% against Miami, 44% against Cleveland, 62.5% against Chicago, 54% against the Clippers. Just incredible shot making, and not just shot making like 3-point making. He was 10 of 17 in this one, 5 of 12 from 3, meaning he was 5 of 5 from inside the arc. He was driving. Same old tricks, man. Same old tricks. He's got the bag inside the arc, driving against guys, dipping his shoulder, getting momentum against the guy. So, all of these little guys have these same tricks. Payton has it. Going back in Celtics history, Isaiah Thomas had these tricks. Kemba Walker has these tricks. These little guys, they know how to use their bodies, get the shoulder, dip the shoulder, use the momentum, finish. Wrong foot, like if you're driving, that 1 foot, that right foot jump going to the right. So you throw off a defender's timing. He's got all those little tricks to help him finish at the rim. Jaylen Brown was not feeling well, so he wasn't on the back-to-back, but he was dealing with a stomach issue. We've all been there. We know how much energy that can take out of somebody. So he didn't shoot great, but he was aggressive. He got to the rim. He got to the line 10 times to get himself to 29 points. Not the most efficient night, but 29 for him, 25 for Pritchard on 10 of 17 shooting. That was enough. Eventually, Derek White came around. Jayson Tatum eventually hit a few shots in the fourth quarter, but it was Pritchard and Jaylen and just little drips and drabs of other guys. Drew Peterson hits a couple of shots. Nene hits a shot, a couple of shots, here and there. Tatum still, having a bad night, 18 points. Kornet finishes, a few plays. He chips in 6. You just get enough from everybody. You start piling up the points. The Celtics getting back to the math. They hit 19 3-pointers. They held Miami to 8 of 35. So, and I say this, they held Miami. Miami was complicit in all of this. They got open looks that they missed. So this was as bad a Miami game as it was good Celtics defense. But like I said, we'll take it. Pritchard just continues to exceed expectations. And I know some people will sit there and be like, hey, man, we told you he was going to be awesome. Like, yeah, you did. I still, have been skeptical, but it's very obvious that he is outperforming what normal expectations should be. If I'm looking at it objectively, it's why is he, this good? Because he refuses to not be this good. He is a maniac. He and Joe Mazzulla are maniacs. Those guys are perfect for one another. I have not seen two people, a player and a coach, be this perfect for one another, like Joe and Payton. I was joking on Boston Sports Journal after the game that if there's a zombie apocalypse and I can pick Celtics to help me survive, I want those two guys, man. Those two guys refuse to die. They just absolutely refuse. It doesn't matter. They will just find ways to win. Talk about exceeding expectations. Joe Mazzulla won a championship in his second year with these circumstances. That is so hard to do. Payton Pritchard has continued. This dude asked for a trade because he wasn't getting opportunities. And he just, whenever he's gotten the chance, he makes the most of it. And now here he is playing at an extraordinarily high level. Sixth man of the year. Like, yeah, he is, get that campaign started. I always want to say I'm not starting campaigns for awards before Christmas, but man, Payton Pritchard just makes you, he forces the issue just like he does on the court. He just forces you to be like, yeah, you know what? I can't deny that he is that guy. He is that good. So Pritchard, incredible. Stay ready, guys. Incredible work from them. Great quote from Joe Mazzulla after the game about why he does not tell these guys, hey, I might go to you tonight, or I might not go to you tonight. We'll talk about that when I come back. Today's show is brought to you by BetterHelp. I am a big believer in therapy. I think that therapy works for a lot of people, and everybody should have the opportunity to talk through some things before they become serious things. I honestly believe, and I've done this in my own life, I live by this. These little things that pile up, the big problems are often the little things that just never got addressed. So find somebody to talk through some stuff. It could just be work stuff. It could be relationship stuff. Somebody that you can talk to that you can trust. You can find that at BetterHelp because everything is done online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, suited to your schedule. So there's no driving around and finding somebody in your area. And heaven forbid you don't click with that person. You got to drive around and find somebody else that lives near you or near where you work. You can go to betterhelp.com/LockedOnNBA. You fill out a brief questionnaire. You get matched with a licensed therapist. You switch at any time if you don't click for no additional charge. It's perfect. So give it a shot. BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA. It's the holidays. There's a ton of stress. This is one of the most stressful times of the year. This is a great time to be talking to somebody to talk through that stress so you can get through the holidays without blowing up and maybe causing problems with your relationship. BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA. You get 10% off your first month. BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. There's 2 podcasts on the Locked On Celtics audio feed. You'll notice Locked On Celtics because you clicked on it and you're listening right now. And the other one, you'll say, oh, wow, that's Locked On Celtics postcast immediately after the game. That's a separate podcast that gets you, it starts you off with reaction to the game from Steve Lennox. That's on the Locked On Celtics, the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube feed. Locked On Celtics feed on YouTube is just me. That's why you might be like, if you're only watching on YouTube, you're like, what are you talking about? Locked On Sports Boston, it's a separate thing. Go check that out too. To get Locked On Celtics postcast immediately after the game. Then I'm in the back. I'm talking to everybody. I'm getting this extra stuff and giving you maybe a little deeper look, a little more nuanced look. Stay ready, guys. We're big in this game. Jordan Walsh gets the start, like I said. He did a good job on Jaime Jaquez, but he wasn't the only guy. Drew Peterson gets another look, 26 minutes for him. He's played 50 minutes in his last 2 games. He had played 30 minutes in his entire NBA career prior to that. Now here he is getting the opportunity. Baylor Shireman got 11 minutes. He didn't hit a shot, but man, he hit Jaylen Brown with a laser in the left corner. It was just a perfect pass. That was right on the money. Beautifully done. And, he got a steal. He made a positive impact. Jordan Walsh, plus 10. Baylor Shireman, plus 4. Drew Peterson was an even, but he hits a couple of shots. He gets 7 rebounds, tons of hustle plays. He has an assist, makes an impact. Joe Mazzulla laid it out perfectly after the game, saying, he was asked, do you give these guys a heads up or not? And he's like, no. Why? Why don't you give these guys a heads up? It's like, because if you give a guy a heads up and tell him, hey, you might be playing today, then it changes his preparation. he should be preparing every game as if he's going to play. And that's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Because if I were to say to myself, well, man, everybody's healthy. Just think about nobody on the injury report. I'm looking at the injury report. Nope. No Celtics there. Night off for me. I'm just going to chill out. I'm going to be at the end of the bench. Me and Baylor, we're just going to be having fun, laughing all day long. Well, who's to say that somebody doesn't break down on the way to the game and get stuck and not get to the game on time? Who has a family emergency? Who has something bad for lunch and all of a sudden can't play? They're a late scratch. Who sprains an ankle in warmups? What if this is the Mr. Burns baseball team, a softball team, and they suffer 7 misfortunes, as unlikely as it is, and somebody drinks the gigantism drink, and somebody gets lost in the abyss to nowhere. Someone gets in a fight with Barney over the best prime minister in UK history. You never know what's going to happen. And if you don't think you're playing, and all of a sudden they go, hey, Karalis, you're in. I go, oh, crap. What am I supposed to do? You know what's going to happen? They're going to say, okay, never mind. Sit down. You, Shireman, you're in. And if he's ready, guess whose minutes he's getting for the rest of your time there? Mine. So be ready. You got to be ready. You got to prepare every game as if you're starting. So if you get in there and they go, hey, Karalis, blah, blah, blah happened, you're starting today. Okay, no problem. I got Jaquez, we're switching. And okay, this is what we're doing. We're doing blah, 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 all that stuff. Got it. No problem. I'm in. Now, maybe I'm still not going to be able to do it well because I'm an end of the bench guy, right? But got to be ready. Always be ready, because you never know when your number is going to be called. Drew Peterson didn't know his number was going to be called. He joked before the game saying, every time I hear Drew, I just think they're calling Drew Holiday. And they said, no, you. And okay, I'm in. And he played well. That's how you gain trust, keep trust, or lose trust. If you don't know what you're doing when your number is called, surprise, your number is called, you lose trust if you don't know what you're doing. And you'll sit at the end of that bench, and you are screwed. You screwed yourself. You're a professional. You got to not only be professional for your teammates, you're a professional. You never know when you're going to be ready. If you go out there and you look like a jerk on the floor, and the one opportunity you get, what happens when they cut you because they're like, oh, we're not going to keep this guy. He's not ready. Other teams, is somebody going to invite you to camp? No. So you got to, you could end up in the G League or Europe or somewhere else because you weren't ready that one time. Or you could be Drew Peterson and be ready. And now you get the call again. And you know what happens the next time? Jaylen Brown gets some sort of stomach thing or something happens somewhere. Drew Peterson suddenly becomes an option. So credit to these guys, all of them, for staying ready, being ready, and contributing in any little way they could in this game. All right, finally, Jayson Tatum, because I can't go this whole podcast without talking about Jayson Tatum, but I don't want to harp on it. I didn't want to do it at the beginning because it didn't matter. They won easily, 19-point win, whatever. They were up 27, easy win. Jayson Tatum was awful. He had a horrible game. No way you can get around how bad this game was for him. Now, fourth quarter, some of the passes started to find their targets, and he hit a couple of shots and made a couple of tough ones because he's Jayson Tatum and he's that good. It's a testament to him that he was as bad as he was. 6 turnovers. They were bad, and there could have been a lot more. And he still finished with 18 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, and was a plus 13. It's incredible. Shot 33%, 3 of 12 from 3, just 1 free throw attempt. A terrible overall game from Tatum. And I could tell right away at halftime, I couldn't believe how many of his passes were just not off. Like they weren't finding their targets. They were deflected. At least by halftime, at least 4, 5 of his passes were deflected, and the Celtics either tracked them down or became, the disjointed possession and it didn't work out, but it wasn't a turnover. He only had one turnover at halftime. And I tweeted it out. I was like, I have no idea how he only has one turnover at halftime, because all of his passes just completely erratic, nothing on target. He looked like a guy who needed a day off. Third quarter, 4 turnovers in the first 2 minutes. 3 of them were Jayson Tatum's. It got worse and worse and worse, to the point where he normally plays the entire first and third. He came out in the third with about 4 minutes to go, a little less than 4 minutes to go, and Jaylen got to play the whole third quarter. And that was because Jayson was not good. But it happens. And I'm bringing it up now, and I'm emphasizing it as much as I am, not to be like picking on Jayson Tatum. He's fine. Like, he had a bad game. It was a back-to-back. The reason I'm bringing it up and saying it this way is I just talked about the Stay Ready group. And the conversation with Jayson kind of needs to be, hey, look, buddy, we appreciate that you want to play and are able to play every game. But sometimes on these back-to-backs, when you talk your way into playing, maybe it would have been better to just sit this one out. Okay, Jaylen's fighting through that. So let Jaylen have it, right? We've got all of these other guys that are ready and willing and able to play. Let's trust them a little bit. Take that day off and give Drew Peterson an opportunity. So whether it's one of these games coming up against, he's probably not going to sit out Milwaukee or Memphis, because Milwaukee's a marquee game in the East, regardless of how they're playing or where their records are. In Memphis, everybody's going to want to play against Marcus Smart. So, but if there's an opportunity somewhere, maybe it's Wednesday. Maybe it's this Wednesday game against Detroit. Maybe Jayson is just like, fine, I'll sit, and Drew Peterson can get a more opportunity there, or Jordan Walsh or Baylor Shireman or somebody else can get more opportunity because they've earned it. And Jayson can look at the way this game has gone and said, you know what? I'm going to give these guys a chance to get their minutes. I'm going to rest because I want to be ready for this back-to-back. If anything, these past couple of games should give Tatum a little bit more leeway. He should feel a little bit better about giving these guys opportunities. So I hope he takes a day off. Like, 82 games, I understand the pride, and it is admirable. I love the fact that he wants to play. That's great. But every once in a while, the way this grind is, especially 6 games in 9 nights, a back-to-back, a day off, a game, a day off, and another back-to-back, this part of the schedule sucks. It's the worst part of the schedule. It's okay to take a day off. It's okay. You don't have to play all 82. I know it's a matter of pride, but no one has gone back and been like, oh my God, look at how many times he's played all 82. You play 80, you play 79. That's a full season. Everybody's happy with that. You don't get extra awards. You don't get extra money. You don't get cookies for playing 82 games. You literally get nothing extra. So just chill, relax. So the Celtics, we'll see on Tuesday. NBA Cup stuff if you care. If the Knicks win, Celtics are out. If Orlando wins, it depends on Milwaukee, Detroit. But Detroit's playing on that front end of a back-to-back. So you'll kind of want to watch that Detroit-Milwaukee game just to see how much effort Detroit expends. So we'll record. I'll just wait till those games are done, because that'll give us something to talk about. I'll talk about it on the Wednesday show, and then more games. I'm here all week. I'll be here all week. So subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Watch the show on YouTube. Get into the comments section. I'd love to see what you think about everything that I've said about the games, about Jayson Tatum, all of that stuff. So leave a comment. Let me know. And share the podcast. Tell your friends that they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.